Hello, welcome to A VO's Journey. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all the crazy things that I seem to step on. Today, I'm going to talk about how you can be successful in voiceover with kids. And I mean with children that you have to take care of and a schedule and you have to take to school, you got to pick up, right? That you're taking care of kids. How you can be successful when you have children, when you have a family, all right, and you're busy. So we're going to talk about that. I get this question a lot, actually, and a lot of people are in that boat. And I think it's a very important topic to talk about because, you know, you see a lot of people, and you're watching me now, so me included at this moment, who do voiceover full time, right? We do voiceover and you know, we don't seem to have the problem of working a full-time job or, you know, having to take care of, you know, our kids during the day, right? Because maybe they're at school or they're at daycare or something, right? And, you know, so it's probably one of those topics that doesn't get talked about very much because a lot of the people who are doing the talking aren't in that situation. Many of them are older, or many of them have, you know, you know, they're able to send their kids somewhere else, or their kids are old enough to go to school, or they're out of the house, etc. So you don't get that topic a lot. And I wanted to talk about it with you guys today because on my journey, right? And if you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, you know a little bit maybe about my journey. You know, I started my voiceover business, right? With a full-time job, a couple of kids, you know, wife, a house, a mortgage, you know, bills, everything, you know, and I had to do that. So I wanted to kind of walk through what I did, and hopefully it'll help you with your business and, you know, managing, you know, your kids and your family and your situation. So first and foremost, it's important to approach the subject from a standpoint, I think, of being realistic. All right, and what I mean by realistic is that I know when I first started, right, you know, I got up at about 6 a.m. and, you know, I went to work. Right? And I worked all day. I got home around 5. I picked up the kids, brought them home. My wife got home because she got home a little bit later than me. We would make dinner. Then after dinner, you know, we'd play with the kids, put them to bed. Then after we put them to bed, we would hang out. My wife and I would hang out for an hour or two. And then I would put her to bed. And then after she went to bed, about 10, 11, I would... I remember I would go out to my little, we had a little shed in the back of our house. I would go out to my shed. I had a duffel bag with my hobo Ford in it because it was PVC pipes and packing blankets. And I would go and get it, bring it in the house, set it up, and start recording. And then at about 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, I would take it down, put it back in the duffel bag, and put it outside. Because we had a really small house, and we didn't have any walk-in closets. We didn't have anywhere where I could permanently put up a booth. I had to put it up in our, we had basically did the whole house. We had like 3 rooms downstairs and 2 rooms and a bathroom upstairs. So, it wasn't there wasn't a lot of space, like literally just 3 rooms. So one of the rooms was like a office meeting room. Then there was the kitchen, and then there was the TV room right downstairs. So in the office, like living space, and by the way, there wasn't doors separating this. So they were like kind of, there was walls, but they were open. You know what I'm saying? So basically I had to put my hobo Ford in there, but I had to take it down because if I didn't take it down, you couldn't walk through the space. So anyways, I had to do that every day and every night, right, at about 10 or 11 p.m. at night. And, you know, I would do that, and then at about 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, I would take it down, put it out there, get in bed, wake back up at 6, and do it over again. So I realized first off that because I could only work late at night, that there was certain jobs that I wasn't going to be able to get at the time. Right? Meaning like there was going to be certain jobs that come during the day that are during the working hours, like a lot of commercial work and things like that, that I just couldn't get at that time, it wasn't possible, right? So, because I just didn't have the time, and I was at work, I was at work for the majority of the day, so I couldn't do those. So I realized that audiobooks were a great place to start, because I found that I could do them. They weren't due the next day. You know what I mean? I found that the majority of the authors and rights holders were very understanding of time and scheduling and things like that. So, it was a great place for me to start. So I literally started doing audiobooks. And that leads me to my next piece of advice. When you're in that situation, all right, like I was in, you might be in that, and you might have a different timing than working that late at night, like I had to work. But when I was in that situation, I understood that there was only one thing I could do at the time, right? I mean, I didn't have a great deal of time either, right? It was only a couple hours. So I realized that I needed to focus my efforts on one thing and go really deep into it, as opposed to spreading myself out super wide. Now, I will admit, at the time, I didn't know what I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have done so much. On a side note, I've done so much now, and I've built a lot and coached a lot and worked a lot and built many, helped people build many businesses in the voiceover business and the industry. And I've built, our training program and a VO's Journey Elite Academy to help with this, so that you can expand a lot faster than I did. But I didn't have that when I first started, right? I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I didn't take actions. The only actions I could take were the ones that I did, which was focus all my efforts on one thing, right? And that was doing audiobooks. I would audition and I would record. That was it. I wouldn't spend my time doing anything else, auditioning anywhere else, doing anything, because I just didn't have the time. But fortunately, because I did that and I focused my efforts, I started getting work, audiobook work. And also I noticed too, I realized that I didn't have time to do super long books. You know what I mean? So I started doing things 3 hours or less. Now, I've heard many people talk about, well, not many, but I've heard some people out there say, oh, well, don't do audiobooks 3 hours or less. I just disagree. I don't take anything away from them, but I just disagree, because I did it, and it was a wonderful thing for me, because I was able to work, I was able to get paid, I was able to make money. And also, it's wonderful to use pseudonyms. You can use pseudonyms. Like, if you don't want people knowing what books you're doing early on or whatever, which I highly recommend, right? You can, you can use a pseudonym. Some people don't know. And you can choose to use a different name. It's fine. It's not, I promise you, I've done so many things with my business. You're not going to ruin your business. You won't. You won't. Okay? I promise you, this world is so big. There's so much work out there. You're not going to ruin anything. All right. So anyways, that's one thing I recommend. Fixate yourself one thing. And remember, I'm talking about people with little time, people that have got a family that you have to take care of, your kids are, you got a lot of responsibility right now, but you're trying to build this thing on the side. Okay. So fixate yourself on one area, 2 max. Because I did do a little bit on Fiverr, right? I would post things like, or I had gigs up like scary voices, and then I eventually put audiobook gigs up there, but I didn't get into commercial work until later on. Do you know what I mean? After a couple of years, I tried. I didn't get, I just couldn't get any because I wasn't very good. And that's another thing too, right? Like, it takes you time, depending on where you are coming with your skill level, your talent level, how you're coming into this industry. It may take you not a lot of time. It may take you a lot of time. It took me a couple of years to get myself set, being able to do commercial work. Because it took me that long to just wrap my mind around how, the industry wants it, how people expect to hear it, just understanding that. It took me time, right? But fortunately, I was open to doing a variety of things. Here's another tip. And again, this is your business, so it's up to you. But I do see a lot of people making the mistake that they are so gung-ho about only doing one thing, right? And that is okay. I think as long as you are willing to accept that, the one thing you pick might take you 5 or 10 years to get good at, especially if you're not doing anything else. So, like, I took the approach where I was going to do anything I could to learn, get better, and grow. And I have to tell you, audiobooks served me so well because they forced me to read out loud constantly for long periods of time. That was other people's words. I was an actor my whole life. I was also a teacher, right? I have my graduate degree. I've done a lot in my life from an educational standpoint. So I didn't look at myself as someone who would struggle with, for example, reading out loud. But I found that, a couple things. One, I found that at the end of the day, at 10, 11, 12 at night, you're exhausted. You're fatigued. And it's even a more challenge to read out loud, to put on a performance after you've worked and been with your family, and taking care of your family all day and all this stuff. It is exhausting. But I didn't have a choice, and I wasn't going to give up or quit, right? So, I really, looking back on it, I realized, especially like if you listen to my VO's Journey podcast, especially the first couple episodes, which, by the way, on a side note, they are now all uploaded on YouTube on the channel, so you can watch them on the channel. You can see that they were, like, you could tell, right, that I was exhausted because I'm like, hello, welcome to the podcast. It was like 2 a.m, right? I'm doing these things, because that's, it's funny, I had coined a term, late night warriors, midnight warriors. I had midnight voice or VO warriors or something, because it was just, there was like a group of us or people who we could only work at midnight. You know what I mean? Or beyond, right? Because we worked all day and we had to take care of our families. So it was what it was at the time. And I realized that, a lot of people, when you're coming in the industry, you're in the same boat now. So anyway, so the point is that picking a place, going all in on it, audiobooks is just a wonderful place to start. It's where I started, and I love it. It's one part in the industry that no matter what you do, audiobooks is, even with AI, it's funny because AI has tried. Right? They've tried, and, because it breaks down after a while, AI cannot hold up. And on top of it, it's not so much that it can hold up, but you think about how much of a performance an audiobook is, even with nonfiction and everything. Because remember, no matter what, someone has got to want to listen to you. Do you know what I'm saying? And, they want, and also authors, I think authors, rights holders, producers, us, narrators, we both are in the same boat. Authors don't want people taking and writing their stuff, right? Or AI writing their stuff. We don't want AI narrating our stuff. It's a wonderful marriage if you think about it. So it's funny because I've seen of all the industry parts, audiobooks has been the most insulated, and I don't see that changing. I really don't, and so it's a great place to also continue to do work. There's so much. People listen to audiobooks and they move it's a one goes on to the next, one goes on to the next. My wife, she listens to she's done with an audiobook in a couple of days and she's on to the next one. She just never stops. There are people who never stop listening to audiobooks. It's going to continuously be a need. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a wonderful place to get your feet wet, get used to reading out loud. I was saying I was struggling reading out loud, right? And that took me a while, you guys, to get better at it. I would mess up every other sentence and have to stop. It was exhausting, and I was so frustrated with myself. I didn't understand what my problem was. So doing this, that training was part of my training, getting better. Then my DAW, learning to edit. At the time, I didn't even know about plugins because I didn't know anybody. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't fortunate enough to be in a community. You know what I mean? So, I didn't understand about plugins or anything. So I did everything manually. I had to learn everything manually. And I'm glad I did, now, because I can teach people. I can do stuff with my eyes closed, but I never teach people to do it. We have plugins now that do things, and they eliminate the amount of time by 1,000% it takes you to do it. So I hope that, the idea here, I hope this is helping you understand to focus your efforts on one major thing. I recommend audiobooks. It doesn't have to be, it can be whatever you want, but I recommend, especially for time, if you have a family, you can only work late at night or early in the morning, or one particular, you only have 1 or 2 days a week you can work. Pick something particular that you can really dive into that's not, it has to be done tomorrow, it has to be 24-hour delivery, pick something that you can really focus on and go all in on it so that you can grow and get work in that area and not spread yourself too thin when you don't have the time. Okay. And this is really going to help you grow and be confident. So down the road, as your business grows and you start making more money and you can leave that job and you can build your business bigger, you can then enter into these different markets and make even more money. All right, listen, I hope this helped. I know this video is a little long today. I apologize, but I'm also really excited to tell you guys, speaking of audiobooks, really excited about Audiobooks by a VO's Journey. It's a new YouTube channel. I'll put a link below, but you can also look at Audiobooks by a VO's Journey. We've just started over the last week and a half or so. We've got over 1,300 subscribers to our channel. We're publishing audiobooks or books from the public domain, right, to audiobooks. And our goal is to share that revenue that we make from people watching, listening to the audiobooks with the narrators, as well as I'm going to hire writers to do audio, to write audio dramas for us for series, as well as work with authors who want to publish through and share that revenue. So I'm very excited about it. We're growing at a ridiculous pace. So I'm really excited about that. So make sure you check that out, like and subscribe. We're going to be adding more narrators to that as we grow. So we've already hit one threshold for monetizing. The next threshold, though, is we got to hit 4,000 watch hours. So we're already at a couple hundred watch hours. So we're going to keep building on that. So hopefully in the next week or two, a couple weeks, we'll get to that threshold and we'll start monetizing and starting to share revenue and growing. So we're publishing right now. We're publishing a whole. We have about 10 books in the queue that we're working on with different narrators and stuff. Very exciting. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also, as always, check out a VO's Journey Elite Academy, which is at the heart of all of this that we're doing. We'd love to have you in there because all of our voice actors and everything, we're training them, we're teaching them how to be actors, how to be business owners, as well as giving them the opportunities to make money too, which is something I'm very passionate about, right? Because we want you to actually make money. So you guys have a wonderful Monday. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.